Well, folks, at this point in time, it seems very, very likely that Kamala Harris will be jumping in the California governor's race. She has teased at the idea behind the scenes of running for governor and also potentially running again in 2028 for the presidency. Now, as of right now, she leads almost every poll for the Democrat primary in California. But for now, let's just discuss the potential run for her in California. But before we get into it, drop down below, hit that subscribe button, and never miss another video from us again in the future. Now, we all know California is about as liberal of a stronghold as you can get. They are an embodiment of liberal politics in a bubble. You look at what do liberal policies do to an economy, just look at California. And Kamala Harris has deep, deep ties to the state and has been elected 2 times in a statewide election in California. Once as the Attorney General and once, of course, as a senator. And then she went on to become VP and then a failed vice presidential candidate. Now, the evidence shows a lean from Kamala Harris, which makes sense, to enter in this race, which would most likely clear the Democrat primary. Not completely, but it would clear it enough. You can see a number of people. The lieutenant governor is going to run if Harris doesn't run. I guess, we only have 1 person in here, 2 people if Harris doesn't run. If Harris doesn't run, running for re-election, endorsed Harris, got it. So the reality is that if Kamala Harris enters this race, this is most likely her race to lose. She was the vice president. She was the presidential nominee in 2024. California Democrats love this. She embodies what California Democrats love. And it's ridiculous because most of America hates it, to be honest with you. But actually, I think this could be a good thing for Republicans. I really do. I think this could be a good thing for Republicans because if she runs in the California Democrat primary, she's going to be forced to run as far to the left on as many issues as possible. Fracking, transgender, trans and the kids, the whole spiel. She's going to have to run as far to the left as possible. And then if she decides to jump in the race in 2028, great, you just handed us like 2 boxes of ammunition to go after you with. It's like, metaphorically, just so YouTube and their algorithm doesn't try and F with me. Metaphorical ammunition, but that could be a good thing if she runs as far to the left, because then we could lambast her, we could label her as what she is, this far left radical California West Coast elitist Democrat, and the policies that she promotes. But the real question is, if she jumps in this race and wins, will she try and run in 2028? Because that's kind of a lot. You're campaigning for a year and a half, and then you basically have to turn around and start campaigning right away. You almost have to jump in the race a couple months after you are inaugurated as California's governor. Or is she just going to prioritize a run in 2028 over the California's governor's mansion? And that's a really good question. But a recent poll from Emerson College, and we're going to try and get it pulled up right now. A recent one from Emerson College showed that Kamala Harris is leading with 57% of the Democrat base in California. She has said she will make a decision by the end of summer 2025 if she's going to jump in this race or not. Now, as we said, many Democrats have already jumped in this race already. People like, to become the next governor. Many people have already jumped in this race, knowing that Harris might jump in, she may not, and they can back out if Harris does decide to run. Because we know that whoever wins the Democrat primary is most likely going to be the next governor. The Republican really doesn't have a shot. You hate to say it, but they really don't have a shot. But the people who have jumped in the race so far include former president of the California Senate, Tony Atkins, the current lieutenant governor from California, and then the state superintendent, Tony Thurham, and many other Democrats, including like Rick Caruso and Katie Porter, have also eyed jumping in this race. Obviously, Rick Caruso ran against Karen Bass in the LA mayor's race. You see how that went. Rick Caruso is much more of a moderate Democrat than most of where the party in California is right now. But whoever the next governor is, they're going to be facing huge problems that have been left behind by the outgoing governor, Gavin Newsom, because that's what he is. He's scum at the bottom of a a 50-gallon barrel. He's all that lard that's just on the sides to just scrape off. You know, they're going to have to, whoever the next governor is, they're going to have to deal with the issues of homelessness and housing, the economic challenges, like the fact that they have one of the highest income tax rates in the country at 12.5%. You're going to have to deal with the fact that businesses, big businesses, Tesla left California. The Daily Wire left California. Joe Rogan, JRE, left California. It's like think about this. The Democrats had Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and somehow they fucked up so bad that they don't have them anymore. That's how far left these Democrats have gone. But they're also going to have to deal with issues like environmental issues, fire prevention and forest management, and improving school and outcomes. They're spending billions of dollars a year on education, yet there is not one category where 50% of students are proficient in something in California, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, you want to talk about the exodus. Let's look at the Cali. The California exodus. Look at this. They've got some good numbers in here. Net, since 2010, they lost 129, 93,000, 73, 96,000, 79,000, 129,000, 142,000, 137. And this is net. Net in 2023, they lost 268,000 people. 341,000 in 2022. 407 in 2021. And you wonder, they don't have 2020 in here. I wonder why. Well, let's see. Wow. I bet you it had something to do with the fact that they locked down the whole damn state, and maybe they don't want to say how pathetic their state is and how many people they lost. You know, and this is just something that's going to help, because these people are leaving to go to Republican states. They're going to Florida. They're going to Arizona. They're going to Nevada. That's the reality of this. Businesses are leaving too. Let's see. They're choosing to go to places like, here we go. We have actual, let's see, Texas, Arizona, Washington, Idaho, Utah. Some are also moving to Mexico. Wow. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But whatever it is, you have a deficit that continues to bloom. You have a budget that continues to balloon up. How are they going to pay for this? They can either tax high. You can have a higher tax rate for the same people that are in California, or you need to find a way to bring more people to the state. You need to find a way to bring more businesses to the state. But I'm a business owner. I don't know. I would never move my state. I'm looking to move my business out of the state of Minnesota. I would never move to California with my business. Then you look at environmental issues, fire prevention and forest management. They need to clean the forest floors. You cannot have piles and piles of feet of debris on the forest floors. Gavin Newsom said he was going to clean up millions of acres of this. Who knows if he's even got anywhere close to that? Probably not, because he's a shit governor. He's one of the most pathetic governors on the planet. It's just insane. But whoever jumps in this race, the reality is they're going to have a lot of challenges to face. And the issue is if Kamala Harris jumps in this race and she wins, I don't think she'll be able to handle these issues. She's only going to make the state worse. Especially if she, like just period, because of her policies, she's going to make it worse. But then her policies, plus if she's eyeing a run for president and campaigning and spending most of her time not focusing on the state that needs a lot of help and focusing her time on campaigning, appealing to donors. She needs to. We need a governor in California who's going to spend time focusing on the actual issues in California, getting the cost of living under control, getting the fact that so many people are leaving the state. Because wait until the census comes around in 2030. When they redo the electoral map, you guys are F-U-C-K-E-D. You are effed. It's like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but you want to look at, here's a map. And I wonder if we can look at a 2023 map. Nope. Not going to let me do that. But you think of it. Where are the states that are losing the most people? California, New York, Illinois. Okay. These are the big Democrat strongholds. 54 electoral votes, 19 electoral votes, 28. Even if they just lose a couple electoral votes out of here. Because look at this. This is where the map is right now. Let's see. And I think they're going to win number 2. And then, okay, and the Republicans will win that. The Democrats. Let's see, where else are the Democrats going to naturally win at? And I know there's one more I'm forgetting in here, or at least a couple more I'm forgetting. Well, whatever. I'll go through and fill this out with the Republicans. That's most likely what we're looking at here. Oh, Minnesota. How could I forget about the libtard state of Minnesota? Almost impossible to do that, but somehow I did that. This is what you're looking at right here. Right now, if the Republicans, I think these are strong. These are Republican. Nevada is going to stay Republican. Arizona is a Republican state. They just didn't like what Trump was doing during COVID. It was a fluke. If they win these states right here, it's over. It's over for the Democrats. Now just imagine they may not even need Pennsylvania. Well, actually, they're going to need Pennsylvania. They may not even need North Carolina or Georgia down here. You think about that. You have, let's say, 2 or 3 electoral votes here, 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 here, that then go to Republican states. To maybe a point here, maybe a point here. That goes to Republican states. It's like you are already shifting the Republican Party closer to victory. It is going to be much easier for Republicans to win elections going forward after the 2028 election just based on how the map is laid out. Unless there are new swing states that come about. But the Democrats could sweep all of these states. They could even take a state like Georgia. They could take a state like North Carolina. They could take both of these states right here. And they're still screwed. They're still screwed. They can win Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona. And as long as the Republicans hold on to these states right here, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, it's over. It's over. It is over for them. And if Democrats, and I'm not someone who really wants to give advice to Democrats, but, you know, I've got just a little below 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so who the hell's listening to my advice anyways? But I'm going to still give it. If the Democrats really want to win, and they don't want this map to become so much more Republican dominant, you need to figure out how to change your economic policies so people don't leave your freaking state. Why is the cost of living so far out of control? Why? Why is the cost of living? Why is a house that is $300,000 in the Midwest $1 million in New York or $1 million in California? It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And you can look here. Why? Why is this happening? The cost of living, crime, which is out of control. They've decriminalized so many things in California, supported by Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris, shall we point out. The politics, traffic, as well as relatively high tax levels. Very, very high tax levels. Because this is the little dirty secret the Democrats don't want you to know. They talk about, we're going to tax the 1%, we're going to tax the rich. You know who the Democrats think are rich? Anybody who makes more than $60,000 a year. Because that's what the Democrats plans to do. In order to pay for all the social plans that the Democrats want to do, they must raise taxes on small businesses and the people who make less than $100,000 a year. That's just the reality of it. And jumping back to it, for Kamala Harris, who is the worst vice president in American history, bar none, I'm not going to imagine that she's going to do any better for California or America if she decided to run for president again in 2028. She did a shit job as vice president. She did a shit job as the attorney general of California. She did a shit job as a senator from California. We have no evidence to believe that she would do anything different or anything better for America if she decides to run for president or if she decides to run for the governor of California. So that is going to wrap things up for today. Let me know, what are your thoughts down below of Kamala Harris gearing up to run for the California governor? Do you think, my question for all of you down in the comments, if Kamala Harris runs for governor in 26, do you think that helps or hurts her if she decides to run in 2028? Let me know down below. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video from us again in the future. And we will catch you next time, folks.